Well, we've got a big holiday weekend, Memorial Day. We are paying respect to those soldiers who respected the truth, or what they thought was the truth, enough to give their lives enthusiastically in many cases for what they considered to be the greatest country on the planet. A lot of us still feel that way. A lot of us feel that we have the greatest opportunity in the world because of the fact we are blessed enough to be born in America. As you've considered the importance of what our military men and women have given in terms of their lives, sometimes their arms and legs, sometimes their sanity, to make you and I have access to the resources to make our families, our friends, our neighbors, our country great, so that we can fit in and be an asset to the rest of the people on the planet that God has given us to operate and work with. And my question for the day is that with what we know is the inequity of access to resources, what we know is the inequity to the wealth, 1%, 5%, certainly 10% of the people on the planet have more resources than the rest of the 90%. Unfortunately, that statistic still works in America. So my question, as we honor our soldiers, are we honoring them as we vote to keep the status quo where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? That's a song. It's also a cliche. But like most songs and cliches, they have a basis of truth from which they arise. It's true that if you're rich in America, things are very, very easy. And if you're poor in America, things are extremely hard. And that we have an administration, not just this one, but the ones in the past that turn their noses down at concepts like helping each other out. Well, you know, when it happens, they call it, they want to call it something that we don't like to hear. They'll want to call it like Social Security. They'll say, well, you know, that's an entitlement. People pay into Social Security. We talk about capitalism. We talk about communism. There's a third one. What is that one? That's the one where, what's that term? Socialism? Socialism. Well, now that word comes up when we talk about giving people access to health care who may not be able to afford it. That term comes up when we talk about free access to college for people who can't afford it. Now, what does that mean? That means if you're healthy, you're in a position to help America. If you're educated, you're certainly in a position to help America. If you're unhealthy, uneducated, anyway. So socialism is looked down upon by those who have a lot of money. But they didn't look down on it and don't look down on it when we don't call socialism socialism. Let's say we call it a bailout. Like the banks. Banks have been bailed out. Banks are rich, plenty of money, too big to fail. Right now we have a policy going where our farmers are being denied the possibilities of making money, and so we're going to bail them out. But we've been doing that. We've been paying farmers for years to not grow food. Socialism. Well, so I want you to think about that. I may ask you the question, I may not, but it's been asked. It's certainly rolling around in your mind. And more importantly, do you agree with it or like it? Isn't the question. The question is, wow, is it fair and what should we do about it? Well, before we go too much further, let me introduce my first guest today, Ms. Dolores Amore. She is here to talk about the inequity of information. Not really, but she's talking about Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a holiday that the African American community is very involved in, and those others who are involved in the concept of freedom and the blessing that it brings also pay attention to Juneteenth. Juneteenth takes place throughout the month of June for most of us. But the interesting thing is that it leads into the 4th of July, which is a period of time that we all celebrate here in America, the independence of America and our potential greatness and gift to the world and gift from the world. So, Ms. Amore, tell us what's going on with Juneteenth. What is Juneteenth and why should the world celebrate it?
The Riverside Juneteenth Celebration Foundation is proud to present the 19th annual Riverside Juneteenth celebration at Boardwell Park, Stratton Community Center, 2008 Martin Luther King Boulevard, Riverside, from 12 to 6 p.m. This year, we have added an additional feature to our program that will start at 10 a.m. It will be a health and information workshop and what we're calling Walk for Life, where we will introduce the walking trail that has been established at Boardwell Park. It is a half-an-hour walk around, I'm sorry, a half a mile, a half-a-mile walk around the park, and it will give you an opportunity to relax and feel comfortable and also get in that much-needed exercise.
Get those 10,000 steps if you can.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be featuring that from 10 to 11:30, and then our program starts at 12 noon. This year, as in past years, we will have live entertainment, our mini museum, where people can come and see some of the amazing contributions that African Americans have made, not only to the United States, but to the world. We will also have additional workshops, health screenings for high blood pressure and diabetes, and we will have at 2 o'clock, beginning at 2 in the afternoon, an additional feature which we're calling a Teen Summit. North High School in Riverside, along with the Multicultural Council of Riverside, has joined together to bring to us a teen summit. The summit will be talking about some of the myriad of problems that young people are facing. They are calling this summit Building Bridges from My Culture to Yours. That's building bridges from my culture to yours. And again, we need to have our young people involved. We're hoping that we can do the summit every year going forward so that young people will understand that we are concerned about their problems and that they can come to us when they feel they need additional help. We are trying to set up a mentoring program which will help young people understand the process of STEM. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This will be announced later during the course of the year. This year, Juneteenth added a feature that we called the Riverside Juneteenth Car Show, and it took place on May 18th, and it was really very wonderful. We had a number of cars, antique cars as well as more modern cars out, and we had a nice turnout, and many of the people said that they enjoyed themselves and would return, so we are adding that to our roster of events for next year. Again, we're asking that you come out, join us for our 19th annual Juneteenth celebration at Boardwell Park. We ask that you bring the children. There will be activities for them. We are having the fire department, which will allow the young people to get on the fire engine, which is always exciting. And we will have a bouncer or two and workshops for craft shops for the young children, and face painter so that they can walk around in all of their glory. We thank you very much, and we look forward to your coming out to the 19th annual Riverside Juneteenth celebration. You may add us to your websites at www.juneteenthsocal.org. That's juneteenthsocal.org. Our phone number is 888-752-1619.
Mr. Moore, we're going to come back right after this break, and I'm going to ask you to tell us again why we're celebrating Juneteenth. What does Juneteenth mean? And, we'll get you to repeat that invitation to some extent. But let's wake them up and see what we're really talking about here. Why Juneteenth? Why did it happen? And why, again, should we be celebrating? This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We'll take this break. We'll be right back.
Someone told me you should.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
All right, we're back. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We're speaking with Ms. Dorothy Amore. She's with Dolores Amore. I didn't wake up an old actress here. We're Dolores Amore, and she is with the Juneteenth Committee, Riverside Juneteenth Committee. And Dolores, what is Juneteenth?
Juneteenth is the oldest celebration of African American liberation from slavery. In 1862, at the urgence of Frederick Douglass and several other African Americans, Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. It went into effect on...
Let me interrupt here. Let's not suggest that Frederick Douglass made Lincoln do this. He certainly was part of the reason why.
Yeah,
but it sounds like, that we had the power at that time to urge the president to end slavery, and he decided to do it because we asked.
Well,
there were many more reasons why he did it, but yes, but the fact that he declared through the Emancipation Proclamation, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yes. The Emancipation Proclamation, many people do not realize, was an executive order. The actual freedom of enslaved people happened after the passing of the 13th and 14th Amendments, which gave them freedom and the right, males, the right to vote. Females still did not get the right to vote until the 19th Amendment, at the urgence of European women who...
the suffrage.
Yeah, during the suffrage movement. But we know that once the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, the states that were not directly involved in sending troops to the South to fight in the Civil War, they ignored the Emancipation Proclamation, and they continued to hold their slaves until 1865. The date is June 19th, 1865, when Colonel Gordon Granger and a contingency of soldiers, and some of them said that they were Buffalo soldiers, marched into Galveston, Texas, and declared to the people that they were free. The practice of watch night service grew out of that because many of the enslaved people, and I say enslaved because we are not slaves, we were enslaved. So many of the enslaved people gathered the night before and began to pray and thank God for their upcoming freedom.
The Executive Act was supposed to take effect on the 1st of January.
Yes.
And so New Year's Eve became watch night for people who were enslaved looking forward to Freedom Day the next day.
Yes, the next day. The people in Texas were held in bondage for an additional 2.5 years. And it wasn't until until June 19th of 1865, when Colonel Gordon Granger marched into Galveston, Texas, that the people there were set free.
Informed of their freedom.
Yes.
Because being set free, once
Well-
again, is a much longer process than being told that you no longer have the house that you were living in and the food that we were working with you on now. You're free, get up out of here and go be Bill Gates. Didn't happen. Yes, right. Go
No.
ahead.
One of the executive order was the third executive order, which was issued and pronounced and read in the town square in Galveston, Texas. The people in Texas have been celebrating Juneteenth ever since. As people began to migrate from Texas and come west and north and other areas in the United States, they took the idea of Juneteenth with them, and people have been practicing Juneteenth ever since. It is African American equivalents to, I'll say, sort of 4th of July.
Well, no, I mean, it's a freedom day.
Yes.
Okay, and a freedom expression.
Yes,
so-
and we wish for everyone to come and celebrate the fact that we were liberated from chains in this country. And we ask that you join us at the 19th annual Juneteenth celebration, because not only do we talk about the first African Americans who came here in 1619 on August 20th and were first indentured servants, and then as time went on, they became permanent slaves in this country. But we also talk about the many, many accomplishments that have been made, not only in future times, but also in the past, because there were many inventions during the time of slavery, right after slavery, that was made by African American people.
I'm going to interrupt you now because you've led me right to those points that we need to expand upon. One is you're having entertainment. Mm-hmm. I've got a gentleman on the phone who has a band.
Okay.
He's got a great band. And I want him to tell you and certainly Miss Regina Lindsay, who will be our next guest, how good his band is, and see if you guys want to give him a high. I mean, I'm just pushing relationships here.
Okay.
And also, when we finish speaking with him, I want you to come back and talk to me about equity, inequity, and the future. And that'll be after we get a chance to talk with Miss Lindsay, so that we can close out getting some good opinions from you guys. Mr. Gabriel, my phone guest, bring him on. I saw you on the phone. I thought you were bringing my guest on. Where's Gabriel? My phone guy. He's not on. Bring him down. There we go. Gabriel?
Yes, how you doing?
Turn him down. Give me a little out of my ear there. Very good.
Okay.
Gabriel, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. Give him a little less volume. Let me see. Is that my fault? Okay. So, Gabriel, tell us about your band, the Friends Band. Talk to me.
Oh, well, you know I got a lot to tell you when it comes to the Friends Band.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time for you to tell me a whole lot, because I've got Miss Dolores Amore here. She's with the Riverside Juneteenth Committee.
Okay.
We have Miss Regina Lindsay here. She's with the Women's Covenant Group that's having an event upcoming. And certainly people out there that are listening, many of them are planning activities, and I'm wanting to sell you to them. So,
Okay.
all right. So I want you to make a sales pitch today, my brother. All right. Talk to us.
I definitely want to do that. You know, we need as much as we can do to give back, and that's what we do. We are an R&B band that plays R&B, and we play smooth jazz. And we've been in existence for about almost 30 years now. And I have a 7-piece group with no falsified instruments that we all play our instruments. And we do our best to give the crowd what they want to hear and to enjoy the music. And to see artists still playing instruments and still singing. I'm also the vocalist in the group as well. And I've been I started playing trumpet ever since I was 12 years old. And I'm just blessed to stay with it. I even started in the church, and some of the guys in the band did too. And we just try to keep that going that way.
Tell her how many pieces are in your band.
Excuse me, what you say?
How many pieces in the band?
We have 7 pieces. We have trumpet, sax, we have bass, guitar, keyboard, drums, and percussion.
Name those wonderful people who perform those instruments for you. Who's in your band?
Okay, we have on bass guitar, we have Mawan Freeman. We have on guitar, we have Ronnie Wells, which we call him D-Ron. We have on percussion, Michael Scott. And then we have on drums, we have Richard Pruhorn. And which you have myself, that's trumpet.
And you guys have been together how long?
About 30 years.
About 30 years. Phew,
Yeah, we actually been playing, we started in 1998.
How do you guys keep a band together like that? In terms of your membership, has it changed very much? Or
We sometime in the keyboard, we have a new keyboard player just came in too. His name is Telvin. Sometimes it gets pretty hectic, but most of the guys have stuck it out.
That's amazing. That's amazing just to even be friends that long, let alone
That's
being
why we
able
call
to work with people that long.
Band.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a
You
good
know,
deal.
we spell it F-R-I-E-N-Z. The Z means the last alphabet, so we hang on to that last.
So that's why you spell your name with a Z instead of an
With
S.
the Z, yes.
That's
the Z
good.
is the last alphabet. So we seem like we're the last generation of playing the old school, and so which is really beautiful because everybody loves it. They like the messages that we put out through the songs. We do a lot of songs that carry messages like Earth, Wind, and Fire. We do Bill Withers and a lot of people that love the messages in the song.
Now you mentioned that you are one of the last groups that are playing instruments. What do you mean by that?
Well, there are not as many young people are a lot into the hip hop, rapping, and they don't put the time in like when our age, what we did was learn pretty early. So everything that we listened to back in the day, people played instruments. So we're I guess the baby boomers of instruments, so we're still playing those instruments.
So we're kind of turning our nose down at the with the technology music and the sampling. Is that what you're doing?
Not really turning it down and nose to it because I guess that's what the new generation likes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you still have the middle-aged generations and the ones that are older than that always want to call us back because they like the old school. They like the Al Green, the Temptations, and all that stuff. And so we wind that all up into our playing so that way we can continue to make everyone happy.
There was a time with our singers where they sang without music, a cappella. That's still one of the greatest sounds on the planet as far as I'm concerned. And then, of course, we hear where our young folks do this techno beat, and the next thing you know, they've taken the sound of a bird and turned it into a beat, or turned the sound of the bird flapping his wings. Absorbing this high tech into our different means of creativity. What do you think about that? I mean, I know that, for instance, I know that you've got a daughter that is a great tennis player, and she does not play with those old wooden rackets that we played with, that people played with in the turn of the century. So as we take on this new technology, and we're encouraging our kids to get involved with STEM, as science, technology, energy, math. So how do you reconcile that as you go forward with your music? I remember, I know that one of your mentors, emotional mentors, is Miles Davis.
Oh yes, Miles. Yeah, I just look on the wall in my calendar. It's got Miles Davis.
Yes.
At home, I have a calendar to have all musicians, and that was back in the day that planted the root for some of the musicians that we use now, which is Miles Davis. We have John Coltrane, different people like that. They have Louis Armstrong. They even have a new movie out called Bogan, and it's about musicians that were played back in the early 1898 area and around there. You learn from
So
all
you,
these
yeah,
people.
so you're respecting the past, but you do look forward to the future.
Right, right.
Where are you
That's
guys
it.
working that our audience may be able to come and see you soon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely, I will be at Mario's place in Riverside on June the 8th.
Okay.
And yeah, June the 8th, and then we're in Los Angeles at Parks and After Dark. Parks After Dark, and that's June the 15th, and then we're at Rialto, the 4th of July show that they have there, and that's where we're at right now.
Very good. So, are you working June 1st?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you.
June 1st.
No, not June 1st.
Oh.
We're June the 8th.
No, I was just saying, are you working on June 1st? The reason I'm asking that is because the Riverside Juneteenth is on June 1st. And I would like for you and Miss Dolores O'Moore to talk about the possibilities of you guys playing there in her show, if she has room for that. So for her and others who may be interested in getting the Friends Band to come and play, tell me how to get in touch with you. What's the phone number?
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
I'm going to ask you to do that right after this break. We're going to take this break right now. We'll be right back, and we'll get back with Gabriel, the Friends Band, and find out how you can get in touch with them for your event.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131. Publish your legal notice in West Side Story.
Oh, I like the way that sounds. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We've been talking to Dolores O'Moore from the Riverside Juneteenth Committee, and we've been talking on the phone to Mr. Gabriel of the Friends Band, the band leader, great trumpet player. This guy plays a lot of good music. He's got a great singing voice. You're kind of like, when he sings, what's that Satchmo song that you sing? The world is a happy. What's that song? Gabriel, can you hear me? Gabriel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me? What's that song? That Louis Armstrong song?
What a Wonderful World.
What a Wonderful World. Yeah. You do a great job on playing that song. So, but give us your phone number.
Keep it alive.
Give us that phone number so we can get in touch with you about working with you.
Okay. You can reach me at area code 909-855-2882.
909-855-2882. 2882. All right, 909-855-2802. That's
2882.
2882.
Yes.
Give Gabriel a call of the Friends Band. I guarantee you will be very glad that you did. They will be working at Mario's Place on the 8th of June. Man, where are you guys rehearsing? These people need to come hear you. I guess you can't invite people to the rehearsal. What if you charge people to come to hear the rehearsal? That doesn't sound like a good idea. But anyway, we do want...
We have closed rehearsals, but, you can always go on Facebook and you can pull us up.
That's what I was going to ask. Can we go pull some...
James in, and then you can find me.
Can we pull any tunes down off of YouTube that you guys got up? How do we do...
Just go to YouTube and put in Friends Band Promo. And you will see some of our work we have done.
Okay, that's Friends Band Promo on YouTube, and that's FRIENDZ.
No, Frienz.
Oh, no D. Frienz.
Yes.
Friends. Frienz band on YouTube.
Yes.
And they've got a promo piece there for you.
Yes, we do.
Okay, now I want to introduce you to our other friend, Dr. Regina Lindsay.
Okay.
She has an event coming up. Do you have music? Your music is all set, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay, so, but she does events. And
Okay.
we missed out on this one. This is, and you'll get to hear about the event that she's got coming. But I want you to
Okay.
know we're promoting you. We're trying to get people to realize that we've got some great bands here locally, play jazz, R&B, and you guys just play music. And like you said, many of your band members started in the church. So
Yes.
we were able to get a good piece of spiritual music from you without a problem, right?
Yes. Well, that's inside us, you know. That's
There you
inside
go.
us.
There you go.
Yeah,
Listen.
you know, once you got this foundation, you know, like you were talking before about the root of music. The root of the music is church and blues, gospel, and all that. You know, when that manifests to the R&B, the funk music, and some of the rock music, and from there. And that's how we all came about right now. And
Right.
then-
Well, Gabriel,
young kids,
we want to
yeah.
thank you for spending a little time with us. We'll get back
Yes,
to
sir.
you in the future, and good luck and stay strong with what you're doing as you try to stay in rhythm and harmony with what God had planned for all of us. Because
That's right.
That's what music is. That's the extension that we have as we root out, as we exemplify that feeling of fairness, exhilaration that we get when we take a good deep breath of God's fresh air and know that we are here for a purpose, and that sharing with each other is part of that purpose. Dr. Lindsay, how are you this morning?
I'm wonderful.
Good. Tell us about the Women's Covenant.
Yes, Covenant Sisters International. We're hosting our annual regional conference. Actually, we do it every other year. Regional conference here in California is going to be May 30th, May 31st, and June the 1st.
That's coming right up.
Yes, right up next week, actually, and we'll be in the city of Ontario. The first 2 days we'll be meeting at Turning Point International Ministries out on South Grove in Ontario, 1950 South Grove, there where Pastors Beverly and John Heary pastor, and they're going to allow us to use their facility. So we're giving them a little shout out and thank God for them because they are a blessing to us. And so that's Thursday night. We actually have Chancellor Joel McLeod. It's going to be our opening speaker. And, you know, he's the Chancellor for Next Dimension University, also here in Ontario. So he's a phenomenal speaker, a man of God that is very deep in the word and quite prophetic, and we're looking forward to what God is giving him to share with us. And it's also his birthday. And so we were so excited that he would see fit to share his birthday with us. And so we're excited to have him there. And then coming on that Friday morning, we will have morning glory prayer at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we
Okay.
want to seek God early.
Very
Amen.
good, very
And
good.
so then we have 2 workshops immediately following the prayers from 7 to 7:30, and the workshops begin at 7:30. So from 7 to 7:30 is the 30 minutes of prayer. Then we go right into workshop A. And we're going to have 2 phenomenal speakers. Many may know Apostle Catherine Alexander, and she's going to bring us information about mental health. And so we're looking forward to it because so many times, even in church relationships, people are struggling emotionally, and sometimes there are hidden wounds that haven't been healed. And so she's going to deal with that and give us opportunities to bring forth healing. Sometimes it's generational from parents passing down bad habits and things like that. And so we're looking forward to that. And immediately following, we are coming all the way from Vegas with Prophetess Shayla is going to be in town, and she's going to also talk to us about the Father's covering. And so we're looking forward to that on Friday, bringing us forward to the general session at 10 o'clock with Apostle Stephanie Palmer. She's a local pastor here from San Bernardino.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to her coming and concluding the morning sessions. And then on Friday night, coming all the way from Dallas, Texas, will be our foundress, Apostle Joyce Thornton. And she actually gave us the vision for Covenant Sisters, whereby she had us experience where coming from the streets and having her life change, she wasn't sure about the process and the protocols within the church. And someone actually gave her a hand up and they offered their arm to help her to learn the way to go. And they became covenant sisters, and she got that vision as being my sister's keeper. And so we are here for each other, to be one another's keeper, to have each other's back, and to stand together and leave none of our sisters behind. So we're looking forward to her for the vision that God has given her. And we're repeating that schedule on Saturday. The only difference will be at the Holiday Inn in San Bernardino and Ontario also, but across from the airport. We're moving there because it's a larger venue, because we're going to close with our covenant brunch. So we still will open that morning with prayer. We still will have 2 workshops with Apostle Barbara Christian and Dr. Jean Farley. And then we also have even Pastor Eva Thomas from Riverside, Yahweh House of Worship. And so they together will do different workshops so that we will have a around, what should I say, well-covered opportunity to hear different voices, give us actually different things to think about and to mature. And so even Pastor Eva Thomas is going to be talking about church leadership and how we can be more effective as we mature in the things of God, to be submitted to our leaders, but yet at the same time develop the destiny that God has given us. So I'm excited about them. And we'll conclude with the lunch. The lunch will bring us all the way from your friend and mine, coming from Fresno, but she grew up here, matured here in Southern California, in the city of San Bernardino. Amen, Reverend, yes, Robin Snowden. So I'm so excited to have her. She's my long-term friend, and I praise God for her and what God's been doing in her life. And she's teaching school, and God's been using her mightily in the school district. So I'm looking forward to what she has to say and how God has shown her how to empower our young people and give them the opportunity to grow and mature and develop who they are and who they see themselves. Even as my sister earlier was talking about Juneteenth, it's so phenomenal that our young people need to know their roots and who they are and where they come from. So I'm appreciative of Reverend Snowden and what she brings to the table, and thank God for the gifts that she has.
The program, does it cost money? Is it free? I'm sure some part of it has to have some financial obligation involved. What are we talking about?
Well, actually, the conference itself is free. Thursday night and Friday is free. The only cost is for the lunch or the brunch. And that's so that we can cover the cost of the meal. But other than that, everything else is free because the gospel is free. And so we want people to be able to come and receive what God has for them without worrying about money. And so since we do have to eat, and the hotel wants to have some money, yes,
that's right.
then we do want to have the $35 cost for the brunch and come out and pay that. Actually, most people have been paying online. They've been sending us money through Zelle at Jubilee House of Praise at Gmail, and as well as the Cash App, also at Jubilee House of Praise at Gmail. And then for those that also have PayPal, they can do the same at Jubilee House of Praise. Because Jubilee is the foundation organization that covers West Coast Covenant Sisters. West Coast Covenant Sisters is our women's department outreach to the community. So that's why it's going to Jubilee. And so we just look forward to a great time together to impress the kingdom. Amen.
I don't have to work at all when I talk to you. You keep rolling, and you keep rolling with the right information here. That's important for us to know. How will we determine that this conference has been successful? What occurs? What information needs to be passed? What reaction do we see that lets us know this has been a successful conference, not just by the attendance?
Surely, because our theme is to engage, to impact, and transform. So we're challenging ourselves and each other to be able to engage heaven. As I'm talking to you, we're engaging one another. I'm sharing my mind with you, and likewise, you're sharing your mind with me, as well as our heart. Well, God has a heart. He also has a mind, and he's given us information that will help us to determine where we should go and how we should get there. And oftentimes, we don't know the way to go, and sometimes we need direction.
Well, we're surely close to lost.
Yes. Hello, Father. Amen, amen, amen.
I mean, but then we could only say we're lost if we can describe a goal that we're trying to get to that we seem to have a problem reaching. Sounds like I got a break.
I think
That's
so,
great.
yes.
We're going to take this break. We're going to come back. I'm going to invite Ms. Moore to come back and join us. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the reason and the purpose and what is the message and what is the end goal and are we trying to correct something and what is it that we're trying to correct? We're going to talk about that right after this break. Dolores, come on back.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
Back for the last segment. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm still Wallace Allen. I may get a change. Something may come over me later at the end of the day and I change my mind or change my name at least. Wallace James Allen. Heck, I could be James. How about that? Well, that'll work. Okay, we're talking about several things today, but it always boils back down to the same thing. What's up? Why are we here? What is the purpose of life? How do we express ourselves? How do we deal with the things that we think need to be dealt with? How do we describe those things? And how do we make the decision that they need to be dealt with? This is a holiday weekend in America. This is our Memorial Day. This is the day where we go and pay tribute to our fallen warriors, the people who have fought for the freedom of America as a country and as the citizens of America. As we look at America, we find that we need our churches every day. We need our leaders every day. Our leaders are not necessarily the people that we elect, but as we elect people, we expect them to lead. Where they're leading us has us in a position now where we find that a very small number of the people control the vast amount of resources and money that we have. There are inequities in terms of access to health care and access to education and access to housing and access to food. I bring myself almost to tears every day as I look at what people don't have as they're living on the street. As I look at what some people have too much of, is they can't decide which house that they should go sleep in that night or which car that they should drive on their way to that. The balance is off. Ms. Moore, as you talk about the importance of Juneteenth, of the imbalance of access to freedom that we're now celebrating because a freedom was given, but as we look at that freedom, has it been used to give everyone a shot at making America the best place that it could be based on everybody having an opportunity to contribute? What are your response to that?
There were tremendous inequities in the educational system to the point that African Americans were not recognized in most of their endeavors. And so as a result, we know or did know very little about the kinds of contributions that we have made to this country. Thanks to the internet and additional scholars who have come up in the last, I'll say, 45, 50 years, we are now getting information about our history that was not written in any textbook. We know that African Americans were enslaved, but we are not slaves, that we have a long history prior to slavery. We know that there have been many contributions that have been made by African American people, from the invention of the shoe lasting machine.
Are you suggesting that as we reach into our history and realize that, black people, just like brown people, yellow people, white people have made contributions to America, once we see that has occurred, does that satisfy the inequity situation?
No, it doesn't.
What do you suggest that we need to do to be able to assure that our kids get education, access to medical, and that there's something done to
We need to
not
all
have
be
so
in,
many homeless and poor people running around on the planet when we have so much waste going on?
we need to be involved. It's plain and simple. We need God in our lives. We need to be involved in our communities. We need to be involved with our children, with their education. We need to be involved with our neighbors to make sure that they're okay.
Now, everybody that you just mentioned are probably people in the same situation that we are in, where we are not rich. We are not that 1% or that 10% that controls everything. Let's kind of open this up. How do we change that? Is that part of our agenda to change that as we prepare the Juneteenth message? Is there something that we're putting together to change the future? I know we talk about STEM for our kids.
Yes, we need to. Education, I believe, is fundamental. But not just our children going to college. We need to go back to some of the old school ideas of teaching our children crafts so that they are able to be bricklayers and carpenters and plumbers and electricians, so that they're able to build their own houses if necessary, so that they're able to make the kinds of contributions which will help to progress us not only as a people but our nation. We need to also look at the 1% and let them know in ways that they feel it the most how we feel and what we expect from them, because the marches and the demonstrations don't seem to be working.
We're going to ask you in a few minutes what kind of tools you would like to see.
They're reactive, not proactive, and we need to be a proactive people.
Okay, let's, Dr. Lindsay, your opinion on the same question of inequity and what we as a people, a nation, should do to touch and be sure that everyone has access to these resources, access to education. We don't want somebody driving the bus that doesn't know how to drive. We don't want to be subject to leadership that doesn't know how to lead. What are you looking at as we try to solve this issue?
Wonderful question. Thank you. I actually am in agreement with my sister regarding the need for education. And as she's talking education in the secular sense and understanding how to empower ourselves, I also believe in education spiritually as well, because I believe that it's the wisdom of God that gives us direction. And we need his direction to show us the way to go in the secular world. So he will point us in direction. He'll give us guidance and give us understanding, help us to develop the gifts that he's given us so that we together can come and better our communities. Actually, all of us have something to add, and we need each other. And so as we're developing our gifts, as she's talking about STEM, as there are students who need understanding in math, students who need understanding in technology, but that technology is not just for that person, it's meant for the community.
Okay.
That mathematician is meant for the community. So as they use their gifts, it betters everybody, and we all are partakers together of what God has given each of us. So I believe, as she said, one of her first things she said, we all need God. I believe he is our foundation that keeps us centered, to help us know the direction to go, to help us know if my skills and my talents lead me to technology, lead me to science, lead me to engineering. And based on that gifting that he's given me, then I can develop that gift. And then as we come together, even like with the conference, we have teachers and leaders who are helping us to understand how to hear God's voice and get greater understanding how to walk in the wisdom and apply it to our life so we can be effective and productive citizens.
Do you think that if you were let me double check. Are you a 1% or 10%? Are you a billionaire, millionaire in disguise, and not having shared that with us information-wise?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No,
Well,
not yet.
praise the Lord. We'd like for you to move into that circumstance, because I
So I can
trust
be a
that you.
blessing to others,
Well, I
yes.
do trust that you would be
Yes.
much more sharing than some of the people that are out there now. And as I say that, am I indicting the people that are rich? Am I trying to say that there's something wrong with them accomplishing and receiving the monies and resources that they have? that's not my intention. My intention is to praise anyone who has been able to gather their energy and go and work and assemble and make things happen. Many of these super rich people, however, are in possession based on an echo from something great-grandpa did. In many cases, great-grandpa was a slave master in the United States and made money and has created a wealth that lives on. How do we approach this wealth? Once again, I spoke earlier about subsidies, government subsidies that go to the banks, that go to the farmers, that go to, the automobile companies when they're. How do you feel about health subsidy and education subsidies for those who can't afford it? Because as you said, when we fill somebody's brain, chances are it's much too full to just benefit them. It ends up benefiting all of us one way or another. So how do you respond and deal with the rich? How do we... Go ahead, Doc.
As our Lord and Savior has said that we should do for our brethren, and what we do for the least of these, we do for him. And so I truly believe, and that's one of the reasons why we put such a great effort into Juneteenth, because we're bringing information that has been left out of our history books and our general
Inspirational
information.
effort.
Yes, so that we need to help each other.
Inspire people to aspire.
Yes, this is what we are here for, to help one another. And this is the whole premise of our Holy Bible. This is the whole premise of our Juneteenth celebration, is to bring knowledge to the community, not only in the Inland Empire, but we would love to see it spread throughout the country and eventually spread throughout the world. Not just us, but as we tell other people, we affect them, and then they in turn would affect other people, because each one needs to teach one.
And we do, and sometimes we're not paying attention to the lesson that we're teaching people. We
That's true.
Everything is a teaching moment. If we could select the teaching moments and say, well, this is the only thing that I want you to learn, as we walk around in front of our children, that doing certain things and then telling them to do something entirely different. Yes. But it's reassuring to hear you both end up saying that we need each other.
Yes.
That we need to give and provide for each other, because indeed we are actually providing for ourselves as we do that.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
And for our Heavenly Father. This is what he wants us to do. This is why we're here. And when people ask, why are we here? We're here to help each other, to make life better for each other, to make our earthly journey a positive one.
I think I want to thank you by trying to remember what I think is an appropriate poem. People of the mind, we are the answer for time. For time has brought us a mirror to see that we are the controllers of destiny. Destiny is but a hollow, timeless vacuum which before us unfolds, waiting for us to fill it with soul, the ingredients of our soul, the soul of united spirits, united against the repercussions of the old ways of time, correcting time, a new way of time, a new living, a new attitude. People of the mind, we are the answer for time. We are the answer for time. Reach out, touch somebody. Let somebody know that you care in a way that is caring and loving, not that you care more for your car than you do for their heart and soul. Thank you guys for joining us. I hope that you guys are just overstacked with people on the 30th, 31st, and the 1st, even though we're stretching from Riverside to Ontario. Folks, we can do this. Let's get out, support ourselves, support our community, make this world a better place. It's not going to be easy, but it's not supposed to be. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week under two circumstances. One, if the good Lord's willing. Two, if the creek don't rise. God bless you. Thank you for time.
We got the groove, we got the KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
The year tonight in Charlotte, 6 Eastern, the Coca-Cola 600, 21-year-old and Charlotte native William Byron has the pole. Sad news in football today, Hall of Famer and Packers legend Bart Starr passing away at the